And welcome to the By Reason of Insanity podcast. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Devin.
How's everybody today?
I imagine they're good.
Oh, I hope they are. So, thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah.
And I'll give you all a heads up. We have discussed it amongst ourselves and based on some things that we've been told.
Yep. We are going to shorten the podcast to 30 minutes, make it more available for you guys to listen to in your busy lives.
Yep. And if in, the course of the future, we, develop an audience that wants more, we'll give them more. So, what are we doing, man?
I think we're going to talk about time today.
You want to talk about time, huh?
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to talk about time.
So, what aspects of time do you want to talk about? Because I know there's 1,000,001 we could get into.
Yeah, I guess the real reason I wanted to talk about time is because I know that I waste a whole lot of it. And
okay, that's a joke, right?
No,
I was going to say, I think we all do, and I wish I could get back even a tenth of the time that I've wasted.
Yeah.
Good God.
Why would that be a joke?
Dude, you and me both, I think we're so busy with such a myriad of things to think that we actually waste time.
Yeah, but I still find myself like, if I were to write down everything I did in a day, I mean, I've been busy, but there's more time in a day than you think.
Well, I mean, I know from my own personal experience, I think I'd mentioned before to you anyways, that there was a period of my life where I was literally sleeping 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I did that for years. So I kind of had a lot more time than the average person does.
There's like these hyper productive people though that will literally
not me.
No, but they'll plan their day in 15-minute increments, and they achieve so much more than the average person because they have their time allotted in regard to their priorities.
How do you stick to a schedule like that? I mean, I could not do that. I mean,
Right.
A good example, my phone, it rings off the hook during the daytime when I'm working, right? I wouldn't even be able to say, okay, well, this 15 minutes is for this is for this is for this. Because sadly, I'm connected to my, part of my business, I'm connected to my phone all day.
Yeah, me too.
So I don't even understand how the heck you could live that way. I mean, that's just crazy to me.
I don't know. But I know that when you take the time to plan your day, you become more productive. That's a fact that I've seen all over the place. That's something I'm starting to do.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I guess I got a lot to learn in my 47 years, don't I?
I guess.
Man, if I'd have been doing that for the last 20, God only knows where I'd be. But, I mean, irrespective of all of that. So, time. Do we waste time?
A whole ton of it.
And when you look at your life, where do you feel like you wasted the most?
Well, we said it in the first episode, so I'm going to pull my phone out here.
Okay.
And I'm talking about screen time. You pull yours out too.
And Devin's about to teach me how to do something on my phone that I don't know how to do because, again, I'm an old man in technology.
So just type in screen time.
Where?
Okay, pull down on your phone.
Okay, screen time.
Screen time, and then go to the settings.
Screen time. Okay. Screen time. Daily average.
Yep. What's your daily average?
8 hours, 44 minutes.
8 hours, 44 minutes you spend on your phone.
That's what this says.
Yeah. Mine's 6 hours, 7 minutes.
God, I'm horrible.
Up 23% from last week.
Oh, I'm up 13% from last week.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
So total screen time for this week is 42 hours and 52 minutes. That's a whole work week.
Okay, see all activity, I guess, is the button. Social, 25 hours, 37 minutes. Entertainment, 9 hours. Utilities, 5 hours, 23 minutes. Total screen time, 61 hours, 9 minutes. Whoa, good grief.
So I think that is
Dude, that's
scary, isn't it? How much of our lives gets
61 hours in a week?
Yeah. So we thought we were being productive, but when you look at that, when you look at something like that, a whole work week, or for you, a whole work week and then 20 hours of overtime are spent buried in your phone.
I will say, to like my credit, I know where I can see where a lot of this time came from. For me, a lot of that's after my work day at home in the evening, kind of like between 9 o'clock and midnight.
Still, you're sitting there on your phone instead of, taking that extra time to grow your craft, taking that time to do, introspective work, taking that time to read the Bible, taking that time to be with your family. It's just crazy the amount of time we waste in a day, in a week, in a month.
Well, if that's a weekly average, I mean, multiply that by 300 or by 52. And that's a big number.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how many days that would be wasted.
Well, I can tell you right now, 61, let's call it 61 hours flat times 52. It's 3,172 divided by 24. 131.16 or 132.16 days, 24-hour period days. So 1/3 of a year.
Yeah, it's spent on your phone.
Whoa. Okay. That's a problem.
That is a big problem.
That's a problem. God, I'll be honest, that actually makes me want to take the thing and throw it in the trash. Unfortunately, I can't.
Yeah. A lot of my time too is spent, because part of my business is the social media stuff.
Well, yeah, like my owning, with what I do for a living, I'm constantly in weather reports. I'm constantly in searching for freight.
Yeah.
I spend my entire life is in my phone. I mean, honest to God, if I lost my phone, thank God it's an Apple now where I can kind of recover stuff to another Apple device where it's kind of backed up in my cloud because, oh my God, I'd be lost. But, yeah, that's 132 days.
That's full days.
That's 24-hour days.
So if you think you're up for, 16 hours a day, if that.
I wonder how many other people have this same problem if they looked at their phones.
Everyone.
And looked at that. Because I didn't even know you could do that on a phone to begin with.
Yeah. You saw me. I had 42 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Y'all should check out your phones and see how much time you spend on them.
Yeah. So I guess the real challenge is to do that for yourself, see how much time you're wasting. Because I know I'm sitting here like there's not enough time in a day to get everything I want done.
But yet
we
spend
the
how
numbers,
much time on a cell phone.
The numbers tell a different story.
Yeah. Man.
So that's why I was saying, if you cut your day down into these increments, it doesn't have to be 15-minute increments, but a half hour to an hour increments, and honestly record what you're doing throughout that day.
Period of time.
It's going to be not what you think.
Huh. That'll be something to try here maybe in the coming weeks, just to see kind of exactly how that plays out. Because man, that's crazy. I've not thought of time in that regard, like how much of it is clearly wasted in respect to other things I could be doing with my time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get my work done and I'm efficient about that type of stuff, but what could I be doing from 9 to midnight when I'm the only person that's awake sitting downstairs at the house?
Yeah.
Instead of sitting on my phone watching TikTok or Facebook.
What was the total hours for a year for you? Is it
3,172.
Okay. And they say it takes about 10,000 hours to be an expert in any craft.
So 3 years basically.
So in 3 years, you could be an expert in any
In
field.
anything I want to.
Yeah.
Anything I mean to a degree.
Yeah.
Couldn't be a doctor.
No. But you could hone your craft in anything with that time.
Man, what would I do with 3 years of dedication to one specific thing?
Yeah, they say even less than that, honestly. That's for something that requires like physical skill, like Kobe or like LeBron putting hours,
you're talking basketball.
putting hours in the gym, yeah. But if you're talking in respects to being a knowledge expert on something, they say it takes about 30 minutes a day for a year.
Just study that particular topic and
30 minutes a day for a year.
Wow. I don't know if there's any topic I want to be an expert on.
Yeah.
Because then I'm going to have the temptation, I think, to, have to show it off.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. My own vanity, I suppose.
So it's one thing to have that realization of what do we do with that realization? Because I know I've known about this for a long time. And I don't necessarily, I haven't changed it. So how
is that because you don't want to or because you don't know how to?
I know what I'd have to do.
And you're not fond of that idea, I take it?
It's whether it's an uncomfortable thing to do because it's change. Most change is uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah, that to me is just crazy because I've never honestly looked at that type of,
Right. Everyone says they value their time. Everyone says they don't have enough time. But that's completely contrary to that narrative.
Yeah, that's definitely have the time. It's just a matter of figuring out how to use it and take it away from one thing to give it to the other.
Right. So how could we, knowing that, how could our audience improve?
I think you have to start with shutting the freaking phone off.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like at night from 9 to midnight, where I'm normally playing around on my phone, just kick back, doing nothing. Turn the phone off. Yeah,
because in reality, what are you gaining from that besides, instant gratification?
Nothing. It's literally vapid entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
It's mindless stupidity. In all regards, that's what it is. It's mindless stupidity. I don't have to sit there and think. I don't have to sit there and do anything except for veg out.
And there is a place for that, but not 60 hours a week of it.
60 hours a week. Yeah.
And that's and we kind of talked about it in our first episode of how we've gotten sucked into this
whole social media construct.
And the whole electronics and everything else is just taking over our lives and taking away the human aspect.
I was going to say, I think this has taken, looking at just that amount of time, that has taken sitting here and contemplating what that has taken.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, 61 hours in 1 week. That's just insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Cute. That literally is. I really don't want to be in a position where I'm doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, because that's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Well, I talked to you about we need to start working out. I think that's going to be one way that we're going to get some of our time back and put it into something else.
That's true.
Whether it's in the morning or the evening, my God, that's crazy. But I'll tell you what, I think it needs to start with turning these things off when we don't need them for business, when we don't need them for, the course of what we do for a living.
That's hard. We become so addicted to it. Your brain chemically literally releases dopamine while you're sitting there watching these TikToks or watching these reels or short,
whatever it is you're watching, right? That's crazy. That's talk about bringing a whole new subject to light.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
we've got us reeled in big time.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
I feel like a big old fish on the end of a hook about right now, thinking, man, hey, Steve, God rest your soul, but you did a hell of a good job, man.
Yeah, I think that's a symptom of the larger society. We've become consume, and not produce. There's a select few that produce in our society.
Oh, okay. Oh, I mean, you're getting into a whole new area, a whole other area. I mean, just the country in general terms. I mean, we're literally a nation of consumption.
Yeah, of consumption. But what if you took that time back? Think about what you could produce for yourself. Think about what you could produce for others.
It's almost, in the grand scheme of things, if you applied it in positive directions, it's almost infinite what you could do with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can think of dozens of things that, man, like my music, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if I spent
60 hours a week on music,
right? If I spent 60 hours a week invested in writing music and working on my guitar and different instruments that I play, man, I'd be a freaking virtuoso within a couple of years probably. And man, I'd probably have a book of songs this thick, a couple inches thick.
Yeah. And I think you see that too. A lot of people don't have hobbies anymore because they don't have time. But in reality, we do. I think it also speaks to the problem of it's a part of human nature. We're creatures of habit.
Right.
And we get into these habits and we get comfortable with it. And then the time
becomes commonplace.
Yeah. And then the time just disappears.
Well, I don't know that it disappears per se, but I know that the more you do the same thing over and over, it all tends to just bleed together.
Yeah.
It becomes kind of a void of time in a lot of respects, because I couldn't tell you, just talking about the 9 to 12 o'clock at night period of time that I like to, just sit with my phone and watch whatever. I couldn't tell you 3 days ago what I was watching.
Yeah, what if value came from it?
Right. I couldn't tell you 2 weeks ago what I was watching. All I can do is tell you that from between probably 9:30 and midnight, I had my phone in my hand, sitting on the couch, watching something.
That's what I do too. And I want to take that time back and go to bed earlier and wake up earlier, because this is something that hyper successful people do too, is they'll wake up at 3, 4 in the morning,
right?
Or maybe like 4 or 5 in the morning. And first of all, no one's posting anything on social media. There's nothing new on social media for you to look at.
Right.
There's no new emails in your inbox.
True.
There's no one else really awake at that
it's a very quiet time.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a time for it's really a very good time for reflection, because there's no interference
or productivity
or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
It's a very good quiet time to just do something.
Yeah.
So what are you doing right now?
Sitting here recording a podcast.
Okay, I forget the podcast for a minute. Sorry, guys, you're here, but we're here.
Okay.
So what are you doing with yourself right now? What are you doing to achieve what your current goals are? What are you doing with your time, not counting the cell phones, nothing else? What are you doing right now with your time to achieve your goals?
Working at the office.
How long do you work at the office? A day?
Around 8 hours.
Around 8 hours.
Sometimes more.
Do you feel like you utilize that 8 hours appropriately?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Okay. Do you think that with the structure that you currently have right now,
Mm-hmm.
that you are more likely or less likely to get to your goals?
Less likely.
Okay, so regardless of the time involved,
Mm-hmm.
because we are talking about time after all, what do you need to institute Monday morning when you come into the office? One change to institute in your day starting Monday to make that day more productive towards your goals?
Get here 2 hours earlier. Turn my phone off.
Okay.
Lock my door. Lock you out. Kidding, I'm kidding.
Well, that just kind of makes me laugh. I'm glad that I can be hopefully it's a positive distraction most of the time. But that sounds kind of negative.
No, it is. It is a good distraction.
We talk about time in relation to what's past, what's future, what's present.
Yeah.
What's going on right now. So what do we do to seize now? Because, look, the future's not promised. I'm not guaranteed to wake up in the morning. Neither are you.
Nope.
But we have our plans. We have our goals. We have our dreams. We have our desires. So what can we do right now? What can everybody listening do right now? One thing that we can all do, regardless of what profession we're in, what field we're in, what our desires are, to start making a positive impact and change on the time that we're wasting.
I don't think that's an easy question.
Any question that's worth asking generally isn't.
True.
If it was a pat answer, it wouldn't be worth it.
So it's one thing we can all start doing right now to achieve the goals we want and utilize our time better.
Yeah, one thing.
I guess that we have a mentality that the future is just going to bring something better for us by itself. We have this mentality that I know I did it in my business, that if I get this new camera, then I'll be happy, or my stuff will be better, or, that kind of thing. If I do this, then it'll be better, or if this happens, it'll be better. But it takes conscious thought and motivation to change. It doesn't take a consumable good. You can't rely on the future to bring you whatever. You literally have to do it.
Right. You have to step outside of yourself and assume that it's not going to be given to you.
Right.
You have to physically reach out and go for it.
Yeah, I guess if there had to be one thing that we could all do right now to further ourselves, would be to realize that no one is going to do anything for you. You've got to do it yourself.
And I think that right there, that is one of the biggest wastes of time that we actually do waste. Yeah, we waste time with other things, but we waste so much time, I think, as people in general, blaming everything else, blaming friends, blaming society, blaming enemies, blaming politics, blaming whatever. You can blame anything.
Blaming that you don't have enough time.
Blaming that you don't have enough time. Because it's all excuses that get in the way of you actually achieving a goal.
Yeah.
And working towards a positive goal or an end goal. And when you reach that end goal, guess what? There can be another one. That isn't the end of it. That's just the first step.
Right.
And I think that is a great first suggestion I think we need to, that's what I think the first thing that we all need to self-analyze and say, look, this is no one's responsibility but mine.
Yeah.
No one's giving me anything.
I think something that goes along with that we talked about in one of our earlier episodes, I think it was our first episode, is the idea that we have to be responsible for our own thoughts, just like we're accountable for our actions.
Right.
And if we honestly take the time to be accountable for our own thoughts, you have no one else to blame but yourself.
Well, your thoughts, your actions, your deeds, they all go together, and they're all our own responsibility.
Right. It goes with the idea that no one's coming to save you, no one's coming to help you.
Right.
That's what I mean when I say we've become so accustomed as a society of consuming. We've literally atrophied that part of our brain and part of our spirit and part of our humanness that is born to create and to innovate and to think for itself. We've moved to this just consume, take in information because we've got Google. We can just look up the answer. We don't have to think for ourselves. We
don't have to theorize.
Yes.
It's all been spelled out for us.
Yeah, but we have to think for ourselves. And I know we've harped on that over and over again on this podcast.
Right.
But it's such a basic necessity that our society needs now,
right,
that we are missing because we've become so accustomed to having the answers at our fingertips and spending so much time out of our own minds that we're just consuming stuff instead of thinking for ourselves and creating thought.
Well, creating in general.
Yeah.
Not just thought. I mean, God, I can look at this in a lot of go in a lot of different directions with this. But yeah, I mean, you're right. We literally consume and create almost nothing of any worth anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a problem. And I think a lot of it has to do with, hey, let's call it what it is. We become lazy.
Lazy.
I think I'm going to go as far as I'm going to attempt to set a point where I don't turn my phone on until a certain time in the morning, like when I get to the office. So 8 o'clock, 8:30. It's on while I'm in the office. And then I think there's going to be a point, at least for a few hours in the evening while the family is still awake, that I shut it off. And then,
You could set times on it too. With parental controls, you can set so you're not allowed to access certain apps during certain times. So, because I know I need my phone when I'm at the office to text clients back and forth.
Yes, me too.
And whatnot. So maybe setting up parental control to not allow me on.
No Facebook, no social media, no
because I can
time wasters.
Yeah, because I use my computer to do all that, the official business side of stuff. Yeah.
Well, I'm at home. If I'm at home and I need to look something up,
yeah,
it's there. So my wife would probably be happier too, because it'd be more productive about doing things around the house.
Yeah, I think ultimately it's being conscious of it, because you weren't even conscious of the fact that you were spending 62 hours a week on your phone.
What about peer accountability?
There you go. We could do that.
I don't know exactly how you go about it, but I mean, I would assume we all have friends out there, and I mean, the ones that actually care could be like, yo,
send me a screenshot of your screen time from today or this week.
Yeah, like a weekly screenshot, and need to see a drop in screen time.
That's the thing that I think I need to do is some kind of peer accountability, because it's very difficult to hold yourself accountable. Yeah. I mean, if anything we were talking about was easy,
everyone would already do it.
We wouldn't be sitting here talking about it.
Correct.
Because everyone would be already doing it.
Yes. And things like TikTok and Facebook wouldn't be nearly as popular as they are. I mean, I don't know about y'all out there, but speaking to you purely, I mean, I'm game.
Yeah.
Because this is something that after seeing that, it's something I want to change, because it's incredibly unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
As far as wasting time, I don't even need to. 61 hours a week, that's a waste of time. Especially whenever 20 plus of it was spent in social media.
I guess the real answer to the question I'm kind of set out with, I mean, about in regards to time, so the numbers show that we don't value our time
at all. I mean, at least you and I don't.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, we can't speak for everyone else. I mean, some other people might even have these issues, but I mean,
I think
we don't.
It's largely predominant in society. I know there's obviously it's not everyone, but
No.
I think it's a
good majority,
a big issue. Yeah,
and I mean, there's so many adages as to how valuable time is, and the fact that we don't get it back once it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
We're always in a forward progression in burning the time. We never can account for it again. So I think it's probably wise to start considering how we use the little bit of time we actually do have. I'm kind of excited about the prospects of getting some of my life back. And I hope y'all are. I mean, I hope the people that are hearing this are going to take a very real look at how they're using their time and maybe make some of the same kinds of changes.
I think that's a wrap for episode 3 of season 1, the By Reason of Sanity podcast. Thank you for listening and watching. And we're going to be back next week with episode 4 on Wednesday.